Hey guys, Banalock here. Welcome back to another Watch of Realms video. We're back with Boris Codex, and I think this is the first run that we've had since the Poison Trio were introduced to the game. And I said it then, I think Boris Codex is one of the places that they're going to be amazing here, and I wasn't wrong at all. Okay, let's look at this. At A0 for this 3 Poison Legendaries and an A0 Ingrid, I'm doing way more damage than I've ever done. I think the max I've done was like 2.2, 2.3 million, but now we are at 3.76, and these units are A0 still. So obviously 6x server hasn't been going ham at this yet. I know on 5x they have 4 million scores, like 4.6 million is the highest right now. And you can see now, Relic of the Past, we have, the Tokens, Hex, Anai, the Burning Team, which used to do very well, but yeah, I think they need really high awakenings to get there. So yeah, without further ado, let's actually get into the run. It's quite simple overall, so you guys can have a look, and then we'll talk about some tips to actually boost your damage towards the end. So let's get into it without further ado. So one thing to really understand is that in this particular codex, continuous damage is king. So, like literally, if you have any units that their kit, the strongest bit is actually like the actual physical hits, then they're not gonna do as well here. That's why Poison Team does so well here, because their entire kit revolves around them inflicting debuffs. And it goes very well with the Nasty Affection bonus as well, which is that every debuff that the enemy has get up to a 40% damage increase. And you can see right there at the top here, we have over 8 debuffs for sure. I think there's like 9 or 10 here. And yeah, this goes crazy here. And the shields just melt here like this. It's not even a challenge. So one thing to note here is that that shield that pops out, the icicle, it starts with 0 stacks of debuffs. So how fast your units can actually cast the debuff, that makes a big difference as well. Which is why the poison team excels so well, because they just inflicts a lot of stacks of poison all together at the same time. And we basically just need to control Vaxera and the Salts out. Other than that though, the rest I wouldn't recommend putting that on auto, and I'll share more in detail why later. This run doesn't look that great. Normally before the second shield we should have about 1.1 million, but that was barely over a million there. So I don't think this will break the high score, but it's still decent. And bear in mind, my units are all A0. So yeah, if you have them A5, you're going to do significantly more damage than I do here. Here we go. Yeah, 1.9 million, crazy stuff. Already triple S here. And yeah. The good thing about Poison Team is that their autos are, the ultimates are auto. So you don't really have to time things, but there's also the bad aspect, which is that if your gear ain't great, then it's not going to sync up with the icicles, then sometimes you're going to have trouble clearing some of the shields. But you can see right now from my team, we are doing that just fine. And it's going to be the same all the way to the last shield. Second last shield here. Yeah, damage is not going to really kick in until these guys use their ultimate. And that's completely fine. Now on to the very last shield. There we go. Can't wait to cast Nessalt's ultimate. And yeah, that's the very last shield. We are going to enter another shield, but you're not going to break it in time. It's just going to barely scratch it. go. So not the best call, I have to say, but there's a lot of RNG involved with Nissault, how he chooses his vows, and also how fast you inflict poison stacks on the other op clears and all that. But that's basically in a nutshell how the poison team runs. And Vaughn all the way at the top here, no surprise because he's the only one that inflicts 2 stacks of poison. Nestia, Numera, Nissault, Vixera all doing very decent damage as well. And then Ingrid obviously up top here. So now let's actually run through some tips. So one thing that you have noticed is that I didn't cast my Numera out at all. And there's a very good reason why. So Numera has this passive where if she has 4 Grimton spikes, she can trigger 1 time of Toxic Surge when, you know, there's at least like 4 of these spikes. So what happens here when the Toxic Surge happens is that you're going to see her consuming all stacks of poison, and it's going to deal quite a bit of damage in other normal content. But in this particular case where continuous damage is the main damage dealer, having this inflicted too many times ain't great. And only way to guarantee this Toxic Surge happening is basically having the ultimate where, you know, she'll launch 2 extra spikes on top of the 4 that she actually has. So that's why you see me not doing her ultimate at all, because even passively when she's doing her basic attack, she sometimes inflicts Toxic Surge, and that results in her clearing all the stacks of poison, which ain't great. I've tried to replace her. I know on 5X they said that Numera is being replaced, but my Anai's Awakening Ingrid and Alistair stacks with Ingrid because both do Radiant Erosion. So this is the best team that I have so far. And that's just one thing to take note of when it comes to why we didn't use Numera's ultimate. Second thing, I know people always use Ingrid and Infernal Roar for AoE Arena. But in this particular case, you want to switch her to Soba Arcana instead because the main damage coming out from her is her burning as well as Radiant Erosion. And both of these buffs are not going to be, or rather burning specifically, is not going to benefit from Infernal Roar at all. Radiant Erosion, it's true damage, so I don't think it's affected by anything in any case. But burning is definitely one of the debuffs that Infernal Roar doesn't work with. So I would think that Soba Arcana is a better pick for her here. And I think that's going to ruin my placement here because literally everyone here is using Infernal Roar. Except this one guy. Yeah, the rest are all using Infernal Roar. So definitely not maximizing the damage that they could do. And yeah, that's basically another thing to take note of. And the last thing is that if you have a Cataclysm set with the Esotericis action buff, I think it would be good to squeeze one here. But as you can see here, I'm using it in one of my more crappy units instead of the stronger ones. There is a 8% reach boost, which is going to be very helpful here. If you have a God tier Cataclysm set that you can use with a quad, then of course squeeze them on your Vaughn or your Ingrid. It's going to do amazing there, but yeah, this is what we have. And that's basically it. The only reason why I said Vaughn does a lot of damage is over here. 33% chance to inflict 1 stack of poison and 33% chance to inflict 1 stack of different poison. So just having 2 debuffs going off at the same time, it's just doing a lot of damage for him. And I think the only good awakening here is probably going to be A3 in terms of damage. But other than that, I think the other awakenings are going to be that crazy. For Numera, yeah, A3 is going to help because of the 20% magic resistance ignore. And then obviously for Nestia, A3 is going to be a huge awakening because it's going to boost acute poisoning, which increase all poison and toxic surge damage for the entire freaking team. So that's going to be it for the video. I'll just run through gear before we get off. Wicked Vengeance here. And then the Tear of Twilight. And then the best gear, I have them on Vaughn. As well as Ingrid, which I'm going to show next. So once again, Ingrid is better in Sober Arcana. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I really think this is the best set that, can help her benefit from her burning debuff. Tear of Twilight here again. And then we'll go over to Numera, Wicked Vengeance and Sober Arcana, and then a Shattered Hilt. And then we have Nassault, Cataclysm, Tear of Twilight. He's not crit capped here, but that's because I want to take advantage of this. And then last but not least, we have Vaxera, Sober Arcana, Wicked Vengeance, as well as a Tear of Twilight. So that's going to be it for the video. Thanks for tuning in. If you have any more questions, leave it down in the comment section below. Obviously, having A0 Ingrid puts me all the way back. That's A3 and A1 are just such a big awakening for her Radiant and Burning Erosion damage. So yeah, that's going to be it for the video. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.